Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 61 to 65 of chapter 2. Tani sarvani sanyamya,
Tani sarvani sanyamya,
yukta asita matparaha,
yukta asita matparaha,
vashe hi yasyendriyani,
vashe hi yasyendriyani,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
dhyayato vishayan pumsaha,
dhyayato vishayan pumsaha,
sangasteshu pajayate,
sangasteshu pajayate,
sangat sanjayate kamaha,
sangat sanjayate kamaha,
kamat krodho bhijayate,
kamat krodho bhijayate,
क्रोधाद् भवति सम्मोहः,
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः,
सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः,
सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः,
स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः,
स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः,
बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति,
बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति,
रागद्वेषविमुक्तैस्तु,
रागद्वेषविमुक्तैस्तु,
विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन्,
विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन्,
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा,
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा,
प्रसादमधिगच्छति,
प्रसादमधिगच्छति,
प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां,
प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां,
हानिरस्योपजायते,
हानिरस्योपजायते,
Prasannachetaso hyashu
प्रसन्नचेतसो याशु
Buddhi paryavatishthate.
बुद्धिपर्यवतिष्ठते.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we were doing verse number 65, where he says, Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi, means in peace there arises the destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Very, very powerful verse to motivate a person to do sadhana. See, unless and until you are motivated to do something, you will not do it consistently. Whenever you are forced into doing something, you will do it for a while, but the mind will always look for excuses for you to stop doing that activity. That is why even when it comes to handling children, when you forcefully make them do certain things, they are unable to resist at that point of time because they are not yet grown up and they are under your control. But the day they grow up, they will leave that habit. Unless and until you have spent time and effort in making them realize the value of that habit. When the mind does not see a value in something, how can it be inspired to pick it up? See, supposing you're walking on the road and there are some papers lying on the road. Now, as you're walking, let us say someone tells you that that paper in the corner of the road, that is actually a check which contains 1 million, check for 1 million. Now, once that information is given to you, nobody needs to tell you to go and pick that up. You will automatically go. You will leave the rest of the papers, but you will pick it up because you know the value of it now. When you don't know the value of it, however much somebody asks you to pick up that piece of paper, you will not be motivated to do it. And even if you pick it up, till you understand that it is a check and its value is so much, you will not utilize it. You will use it for something else. You may use it to wipe off your table. So the same thing has only happened with respect to spirituality also. In the good old days, there was actually no forcing. Rather, they made everybody understand the value of spirituality through knowledge, through education. And when the mind understood the value, it automatically used to seek. So you need to apply the same principle to inspire your mind. If you want your mind to do something on a consistent basis, there is no point in marking in your calendar, Just now the new year got over. Generally I find on January 1st, people write resolutions. I will do this year. I will give up smoking. I know a person who writes, I will give up smoking this year. When? On January 1st he writes. And then I asked him, so have you given it up? He said, yes, just for that one day. January 2nd he picks it up. Actually, he came to me to ask that question only. He said, sir, why is it that every new year I take this firm resolution I should give up smoking? But invariably, the very next day or within 2 days maximum, again I pick it up. And the first time again I pick it up, I feel a pinch, but then second time, third time, even that pinch goes away. Why is that? So then I explained to him, see, do you know the value of not smoking first? What is your reason? Why do you want to give up smoking? Is that reason strong enough? Just because a year has gotten over in the calendar, now how can you expect a sudden change in your mind? That is something external, and this is something internal. I told him, if you really want to give up, you will not be waiting till January 1st. See, supposing you're having a bottle of poison and your children are playing with that bottle. Now it's a very dangerous situation, because supposing they open it and they drink it, you didn't know it was poison, so you had given it to them to play, and then somebody tells you, listen, that bottle contains poison, you need to pick it up and throw it away. Now the moment you understand the value of taking the poison, the bottle from the children, which is, the value is the children's life, The moment you understand that value, now no one needs to tell you, pick it up and throw it. You will not say, yes, I have understood, this is poison, therefore I am waiting for the new year to begin. On January 1st, I will pick it up and throw it. The moment you say, on January 1st, from January 1st, I will do these things, it means you have not understood the value. Once you understand the value of something, there is no question of postponement. You will immediately start implementing it. You will immediately go take the bottle and throw it away. You will not wait. So what we do in the ancient wisdom is go on exposing ourselves, exposing our minds to these deep principles of life. Why am I having this week after week, every Sunday? There is only one goal, one motive, that is to present these truths in a deep way, that is the yogic approach, with the energy, with the healing Shakti, to all of you. Now, why can't it be just one Sunday? We have once in a while, we just have one session where I explain the whole thing to you. By the time you go back, you will forget everything. It takes a while to understand the value of these principles. See, to intellectually understand the principles, that itself takes a while. But from a yogi's perspective, to understand these principles is easy. To understand the principles. But to understand the value of the principles, that takes a lot of time. See, when you say on January 1st, I want to give up smoking, that understanding is very clear. I have to give up smoking. But what is the value? If you give up smoking, how would your life be? You need to conceive it, absorb that, feel that energy. How free you will become. How healthy you will become. Now, unless and until you understand that value, you will never ever do it. So, week after week, these truths are being given to you in different ways, just to make you understand the value. Once you understand the value, you will start doing your sadhana. So throughout the Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture, what they do is they give a few principles, then they spend a little while giving the value of practicing the principles. That's how a master trains a student. When a student goes and surrenders to a master, what he does is he gives the principles, and then he also gives the value. What will happen if you practice these principles? Then the student gets motivated to do the sadhana, and the student does the sadhana. Whenever the student does sadhana, his capacity to receive, his or her capacity to receive will become more. So when the student is more ready, the master gives more principles. And then there is a stagnation. You understand everything, you know everything, but you're unable to practice. At that time, if more principles are given, now there is no use. Then there is a break. Break means not break in guidance, the break in the format. The value will be stressed upon. So it is not enough if a master just teaches what is a sadhana. He also has to provide an opportunity for the student to understand the value. That is the student's mind to understand the value of the sadhana which is being prescribed. Because once the mind understands the value, then it will become inspired, it will become motivated to do the sadhana. Getting up early in the morning, I'm giving an example, getting up early in the morning, listening to Yoga Sankirtan, doing your yogic kriyas. Now, how valuable it is in your life. The moment the mind understands the value of the sattvic habit, then you may keep an alarm just for functionality's sake, but invariably it is not the alarm which actually wakes you up. Your goal only wakes you up. Many a times what happens is people tell me that they do keep an alarm to get up early in the morning, but 5 minutes before itself they wake up and they switch off the alarm before it even goes on. What is that which is motivating them to wake up? It is that inner goal, the value which they have understood of getting up. So when you don't understand the value, but you've just merely fixed an alarm, now what will happen? The alarm will go on ringing, but you will not get up from bed. You will press the snooze, or you will immediately switch it off, and you will turn the other side and go off to sleep. What is the value of sticking to any discipline? Everything which I am giving you here, you should understand the value of it so that you will be able to practice it forever. Don't do something merely because Yogishri is asking you to do it. That will not last long. You know, even when I suggested that you spend about 5-10 minutes after listening to the discourse, after receiving the energy, don't immediately rush, to some activity. Just 5-10 minutes, sit and recapitulate all the points, note them down, express them, put them in the comment section. I will also have a look at it. When I mentioned all that, you will be able to do it only if you understand the value of it. When you don't understand the value of it, you will not be able to do it. But for a person who has understood the value, now that person will not leave that sadhana, because he or she will start experiencing. Because I myself have been observing all the people who are regularly started expressing themselves. When I scanned their energy, I could see that their auras have started expanding very, very powerfully. Why? Because they're doing it. They are doing it with the bhavana, and their capacity to receive has started increasing. That's the whole idea. But however much it is being told, you will do it only when you understand the value. You will go on listening. You will go on understanding also the principle. But unless and until you absorb the value of the principle, you will not practice it. So whenever you find these kind of verses, you should immediately absorb it fully, because the more you absorb the energy behind, for example, verse 65, the more will be your impetus, the more will be your motivation to do your sadhana on a daily basis. More will be your motivation to evolve as a human being, to evolve spiritually. So when you do your sadhana and you get into a state of peace, he says, all the sorrows in totality will get destroyed. Sarva dukkhanam. Dukkha means sorrow, one example of stress. So your mind is in a constant state of stress today. At the conscious level, you may try to calm the mind, but the pressure or stress at the subconscious level and at the deeper levels of your mind are always there. That is why mere external relaxation techniques, if you stop with them alone, that will not work in the long run. You need to go deep within yourself through the sadhana and remove all the factors which are causing stress at the deeper levels of the mind. So he is taking one example of dukkha. Why he is taken the example of dukkha, that also I will tell you. Any negative emotion you take in life, that ultimately leads to sorrow. When a person, let's say, is angry, now anger means agitations. That person is agitated. Now, does that anger give him happiness or sorrow? Somebody insults you, you get very, very angry. I am not now discussing whether that is right or wrong. I am only talking of your reaction. You get very angry. Now, what does it mean? It means you are hurt very much. And the moment we say you are hurt, it means to that extent that has caused sorrow in you. Supposing you are having a lot of greed. Let us say a person is afflicted with greed. He is not just satisfied with anything which is given to him in his life, but he is constantly wanting more and more, and he is comparing himself with others. Oh, this person is having so much. That person is having so much. I am not having this. His mind is full of greed. Now again, analyze it a little more deeply. Is that greed giving that person happiness or sorrow? It gives him sorrow. He does not feel happy when some other person is prosperous, when some other person is successful. It actually, he immediately compares that person's success with his life, and he feels sorrowful, he feels down. Like this, any negative emotion you take, it ultimately leads to dukkha. Dukkha, that is sorrow. Therefore, he takes up the emotion of dukkha and he says, sarva dukkhanam, the sorrows in totality. Not one particular stress, but stress arising out of various factors. All that will be removed, he says, destruction, hanihi. So, it's very beautifully put, sarva dukkhanam. So I explained to you last week. I'll come to sarva dukkhanam and hanihi. Today we'll go into a little more depth of that. But before that, I explained to you last week about how whenever you're seeking something in life, whenever your mind is desiring for some object, or you may desire an object, you may desire a person, you may desire a particular position, you may desire name, fame, power, whatever it is, the mind is actually not seeking that particular object of desire per se. The mind is in a state of agitations and it is seeking happiness. The mind feels that if I get this, I will be happy. If the mind feels this object will not give me happiness, it will not generate any desire towards that. You know, the yogis say that all your activities are prompted by two factors only. Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. Dukkha nivritti means removal of sorrow. Sukha prapti means obtaining joy, getting joy. So each and every activity which you do, everything which you do is prompted by these two factors only. You're trying to avoid sorrow, you're trying to pick up joy. Wherever the mind feels there is joy, it will start running there. So this entire world is like a laboratory which has been given to you to experiment. So the mind goes on seeking. The mind looks at wealth and you acquire some wealth, then it looks at name, fame, like this, you go on acquiring. Why? For the sake of happiness only. Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. Now what they are saying is, in the process, an illusion is created. What is that illusion? You tend to think that the mind is seeking that particular object per se. You keep the object of your desire as your end, as your ultimate goal. That is a mistake which you make. The purpose for any desire is not to acquire that object of desire. I'm saying the ultimate purpose. The ultimate purpose of any desire is to become happy, which means the purpose of your life is to become happy. You need to recognize that first. When I'm saying the purpose of your life, it is not that I'm putting that goal in your mind. I'm only making an analysis and telling you what you are seeking. Everything which you're doing, this is what you're seeking. You want to become happy. You want your life to become more happy. Now, without understanding that, an illusion is created and you think that per se that object is the end all of my life. So throughout your life you are acquiring objects with actually with the hope of becoming happy, but you never ever become happy because you've forgotten that goal. You start out on a mission. Let's say you buy tickets and you go on a holiday to visit a particular place. Let's say you go to some hill station because you want to see a few things and all that. But as the journey is progressing, let us say you forget where you had decided to go, and you're thinking that very journey, that is wherever you are right now, that immediate destination is your ultimate destination. So why is it that people become greedy in life? This is the reason. Because they have forgotten what is the purpose of their very lives. So you go on seeking so many things in life. You go on acquiring. You acquire a lot of wealth. You acquire a lot of name. You acquire a lot of fame, relationships. You do so many achievements. Nothing is wrong with acquiring all these. But as long as you as you feel that this is the ultimate destination, you will have a problem, because even after getting all that, you will find that you will not be happy. It may give you a temporary happiness, but again and again the stress factor will come. Actually, when a person rises in the ladder of success, I've many very highly successful people in their fields. When they've met me, they've told me that as they become more and more successful in life, they feel a sense of alienation, a sense of loneliness. They miss something. So they ask me, "Sir, why is that?" Tell them, because before you achieved success, you thought that happiness is in achieving this. But now that you've started achieving it, you find that that is not actually giving happiness. But you don't have clarity. You've forgotten what for you started this whole game. So now you don't know what to do. This is the only way which you know, and you're trying that, and that is not actually giving you the desired result. So what the great masters are saying is that first understand what is your purpose in life. Your purpose is happiness. That is what you're seeking. And that happiness is there within you. You are not seeking, it is not enough if you say you're seeking happiness. You are not seeking merely happiness. That is finite happiness. You want infinite happiness. Infinite means infinite in terms of quantity and quality. That is why the word sarva is very, very relevant here. So when he says destruction of one's sorrows in totality, destruction of one's sorrows means happiness, the sukham factor. But that is not enough, because whenever you fulfill a desire, you get a temporary kind of happiness. He says in totality, infinite happiness, infinite in quantity, infinite in quality. Otherwise, you want an ice cream and you pick up an ice cream and you eat it. You feel so happy. That's it. Now, there ends your journey. It doesn't happen like that. Now, the moment you have one, now you want two more. For a while, it gives you that happiness, and then again, it tickles your mind. Every time you fulfill a desire out of ignorance, without awareness of what you are really seeking, what happens is the fulfillment of the desire only tickles your mind further. Like scratching of a wound. When there is a wound, you feel like scratching it. And every time you scratch the wound, you feel good for a while, but actually the condition gets aggravated further. Now you may ask me, "Sir, does it mean we should not fulfill our desires?" No. The desires are meant for you to fulfill only. But don't fulfill the desires thinking that when you get that object, you will become happy. See, that point is very, very important. Whenever he talks of detachment, whenever we discuss this point about there is no happiness in the world. Now, I keep on stressing the fact that doesn't mean you should not contact the world. That doesn't mean you should not acquire wealth or you should not acquire the other things from the world. Why I keep stressing the other side of it is because the mind actually has a tendency to go into the extremes. So either the mind is completely involved with the desire, or the moment it is said that, the happiness is inside, it is not there, then immediately you go to the other extreme of forcibly suppressing yourself. Both the extremes are wrong. Actually, what I'm finding today is that many people who come to spirituality, they misunderstand everything, and then they start frustrating themselves of ordinary pleasures of life. They go on philosophizing. Never ever do that. See, live your life fully, experience everything. As I said, this world is your laboratory for you to experiment. It is meant for you to experiment. The world is meant for you to experience, because it is experience which will make you grow. Now, as you are going through the various experiences of life, now, you go to a guru and he puts this idea in your system that whatever you are experiencing, that is not going to give you permanent happiness, infinite happiness which you are seeking. And you start reflecting on that. But continue with whatever experiences you're doing. Don't stop any of those unless and until a particular habit or a particular experience is very dangerous for you. When I say continue, a drug addict should not understand this as, so Yogishri is asking us to continue with drugs. No. When something is very harmful, there you will have to say no. Whether it is drugs or alcohol or cigarettes, whatever it may be. But otherwise, the basic pleasures of life, the basic experiences of life, there is no necessity for you to deny yourself. Just allow yourself to experience. The mind will get excited. Be an observer of your own mind. The mind will get excited. When a desire is fulfilled, the mind will go through so many ups and downs. And then after the desire is fulfilled, it will feel as if it has achieved something great. But after a while, again it will get into a state of stress. So side by side, when you are gaining this wisdom with the energy, what will happen is slowly, it will start influencing the mind. It will not stop the desires of the mind. It will refine the desires of the mind. From kama, you will move on to ichha. Whatever you require in the world in order to fulfill your duties and obligations, you should acquire them. But do it in this way. So who is a yogi? A yogi is one who is fully established in that inner state of peace and happiness. All his sorrows have got destroyed. And in that state of supreme happiness, he keeps expressing himself. He keeps acting. Just as you see a nightingale singing, a rose blooming. The rose does not bloom so that you will go to the rose and give your appreciation. Whether you appreciate the rose or whether you don't appreciate the rose is least bothered. Its nature is to bloom, and it blooms with so much of happiness. The nightingale sings. Why? Because its nature is to sing. So the entire nature is in that supreme state. A human being alone has moved away from that state. But that is the beauty of a human being, because he or she has been given a choice. So when a human being also exercises his choice and consciously becomes one with nature, as it were, you will get into that supreme state of peace and happiness. Thereafter, everything which you do will become a play, will become fun. It's very interesting. Krishna's life was called Krishna Leela. Leela means play, fun, frolic. It is not restricted only to Krishna. Every master's life becomes a Leela, a play. When you are not in a state of happiness, anything which you do is no longer fun. You will only go on increasing your sorrow, and you will also increase others' sorrow also. Not only will you be stressed, you will spread stress around. So the greatest seva, the greatest service you can do is to practice all these principles. This is the foundation of all the other seva or service which you can do. Like a youngster, he asked this question, a few years back. In Chennai there was a heavy flood, and many people were affected because of the flood. And this young man, he was attending our discourses every Sunday. So he got inspired. He said, I want to go and do some seva. It's a very noble thought. So he used to collect some food packets and all that and go to some remote places which were all flooded, where people were stranded, and he was distributing the food packets and other things to them. Now he had to get up early in the morning and start. So in that process, what happened is, for about a few days he left his sadhana also. He didn't have time for Yoga Sankirtan sadhana. Now what he said is, after 2 days, the third day, when he came back, he was unable to sleep. Actually, his sleep, the quality of his sleep started reducing right from the first day itself. Because when he started seeing so many people suffering, now he was unable to sleep peacefully. And the fourth day, when he woke up, he had to go for the seva activity. He said he had no energy left. He was unable to get up from bed and go. And he was afraid to go because his agitations had increased so much. He said, I cannot go there and look at all these things anymore. So he asked me this question, Sir, why is that? What should I do? So I told him, the mistake which you made was, you left your sadhana. The moment you leave your sadhana, and then when you go to do any kind of service, instead of you wiping their tears, their sorrow will start affecting your mind. When a person is in sorrow, they don't require your tears. They require your cheer. They require happiness. So if any of you are doing any kind of service, social service, don't go there and start pitying those people. They don't require your pity. They require your love. They require your compassion. They require your higher energy. You should do sadhana and increase your energy so much that the moment you go there, your the energy of cheer and happiness should start spreading to all of them. So this ancient wisdom, these principles which are being given to you, they actually form the very foundation of seva, service. So in peace, there arises the destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Sarva dukkhanam hanihi. So when he uses the word hanihi, and then first he says sarva dukkhanam, sarva is there in totality. That is, all the sorrows quantitatively and qualitatively will go away. Then he further reinforces by using the word hanihi. Hanihi means destruction. So the word hanihi actually has 4 dimensions. And when you study those dimensions, it will give you a very deep insight how exactly your stress disappears. These are all yardsticks with which you can measure your spiritual progress. See, whenever you're traveling somewhere, there are always signposts. Those signposts are extremely important. Imagine a road without any signposts. Either the signpost will be outside, or it will be in your the screen inside your car, wherever you have reached. If there is absolutely no signpost externally or internally, and you are going on driving in the highway, now you will not know where you have reached. So in this verse, when he says hanihi, the destruction of sorrow, that is a signpost, the various dimensions. So if you're doing your sadhana, these things will start happening to you. You can check, then you will know, yes, I'm on the right track. So what are the different dimensions of hanihi? First meaning of hanihi. Hanihi means damage. What do we mean by damage? The first thing that will happen to you when you do sadhana is that the intensity of your stress will start reducing. The intensity of your agitations. Not only the intensity of agitations, the frequency of stress will also start reducing. Supposing, let us say, you are a person who gets into a bad mood every now and then. What they call is, I get into my blues, they say. Let's say you lose your mood, you get into a sorrowful mood every now and then. Now when you start doing your Yoga Sankirtan sadhana, as you keep purifying yourself, give yourself a little bit of time, at least 3 months to 6 months, you will start finding that the intensity of your bad moods will start reducing, number 1. And number 2, the frequency of bad moods also will start reducing. That is the first dimension of hanihi. So it's not that the moment you start doing your sadhana, instantly all the sorrows will go away. It happens in stages only. So this is the first stage. The intensity of sorrow will start reducing. A person comes and insults you. Earlier, you used to get so affected by it. But when you do sadhana for a while, you will find you will still get affected, but the intensity of that affectation will start reducing. It becomes more manageable. Now, in all the management programs, that is the only thing they stress upon, reducing the intensity and managing stress. But in the ancient wisdom, that is only the starting point. So this is the first dimension of hanihi. The second dimension, hanihi, means decrease. Not only does the intensity of your agitation start reducing, the very quantity of agitations will start reducing. Supposing, let us say, 10 things are agitating you in your life today. If you do your sadhana properly, the 10 will become 9. 9 will become 8. Quantitatively also it will reduce. The first one, first dimension damage is in each of those 10 different things which are agitating you, the intensity will reduce, the frequency will reduce. Now we are talking of quantitative reduction, decrease. The numbers will decrease. Many people have sent me mails. Even recently, I received a lot of mails after the 22-day program, sharing their experiences, how wonderful the whole their lives have become. And one of the things which they always mention is that earlier many things used to disturb me, used to throw me off balance, but now that is reduced. That is what is the second dimension. So first dimension is damage, that is the intensity and frequency of stress reduces. The second dimension is decrease. Quantitatively, the quantity of agitations, the quantity of stress decreases. Now, when these two dimensions happen for a while, you experience these two things. When your stress reduces to a good extent, your mind will come under your control. That is when the third dimension of hanihi you will start experiencing. The third dimension, the third meaning of hanihi is abandonment. Whenever you abandon something, that is called hanihi. So when the stress or agitations reduce, that is the intensity reduces, the frequency reduces, the quantity also reduces to a good extent, then you will be in a position to abandon it. Means you will develop what is called as objectivity. You will get the ability to ignore it. Ignore it peacefully. If a person comes and insults you, it's very difficult to ignore it. You may ignore it externally, but to ignore it internally, at the mental level, is the most difficult thing. Many people, they tell me that, this person is torturing me, verbal abuses in relationships, This person is hurling so many abuses at me. I asked him, what do you do? I just ignore everything. But one look at them, you know that they have not ignored anything internally. So what they mean by ignoring things externally is, their inability to handle that, their inability to, to speak for themselves, they cover it up with this word called ignoring. They say, I'm just not bothered, I ignore. Then I asked them, are you really not bothered? Please think. Be truthful to yourself. Do sadhana and see what is happening within you. You're saying, I have given it up, I've given it up. But internally you have not given it up. So that capacity to give it up internally, that is called hanihi, the third dimension. Your objectivity increases. So once you get into that third state, once you start developing that third dimension, what will happen? You will not leave any business unfinished, any work unfinished. You will not carry any hang-ups. That's what I mean when I say you will not leave anything unfinished. When there is an issue, somebody insults you, you will handle it then and there. You will tell the person not to do it. It's not about telling verbally. It may be non-verbally. You may show your displeasure in so many ways, but you will act upon it. You will not be passive, and you will finish it off then and there. In spite of that, let's say that person goes on doing, you have the inner security also. That is, you develop this objectivity. Objectivity is like a shield around your mind. Once you develop objectivity, anything can be thrown at you, but that will not affect you. So you will have a two-way security system, as it were. One is an internal security, which is objectivity, and then externally also you will learn to speak for yourself. You will learn to handle problems rather than ignoring problems, and covering up your weaknesses. So that is how a yogi remains peaceful. See, why I am saying the internal security is the most important thing is, not everything outside is under your control. You may try to solve things, but in spite of your best efforts, things they may have circumstances have their own pace in terms of changing. That you will not stop your efforts externally, but internally you will have this mechanism. Abandonment, objectivity is developed. That capacity to leave whatever is bothering your mind. When you go and sleep, all the things which are bothering you, they come and flood your mind. They come and spoil your sleep also in the form of dreams. So when you do the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana, whatever your unfinished things are there, whatever has been stored, they will all come out. Don't try to suppress them, or don't try to resist them. Let them come, because the healing is happening. When all those are released, I constantly say release whatever you have stored, the pent up negative energy which you've stored within yourself. What do I mean by release? Release means hanihi, the abandonment, throwing all these things out of your system. It's a very powerful dimension. Once you get into that state, believe me, nothing will disturb you. You will feel so secure. See, it is not the negativities outside which are affecting you. It is the lack of the security system which allow the negativities to enter your mind, which affect you. I'm using the word security system to make you easily understand the lack of inner protection, we can put it that way. The lack of the inner protective covering. So when there is a lot of dust, let us say the dust will enter your home. So that's why you build the walls. You have the windows which you can close whenever it's required, and when there is no dust, you may open the windows. So you have that mechanism. Without that mechanism, your home will become very, very dirty. So unfortunately, in today's education system, they are only focusing on giving more and more knowledge about so many things outside you, about the world. But the real education is in building this protective covering within yourself, so that any challenge which you face, you remain unaffected. Unless you develop this dimension within you, you will not have the strength to face the challenge. You will not have the strength to act in the world. You know, that question which was asked a couple of Sundays back about fighting for injustice. What gives you that strength when you are affected internally by something that makes you very weak? When your anger is out of your control, are you a weak person or are you a strong person? Just think about it. Not only anger, any emotion, when it goes out of control, you become a weak person. It's like the car which has no steering control. It can go anywhere and have an accident. You can meet with an accident. So that is the third dimension. You will get the ability to abandon things which are not good for you only when you develop the first two dimensions, the damage part and the decrease part. Those are the powers first you need to develop through sadhana. And then comes the fourth dimension of hanihi. Hanihi means absence. It also means absence, lack of something. When something is absent, the question of destroying it itself does not arise. Very, very interesting. The moment you say destruction of stress, destruction of sorrow, it means the sorrow is existing. Now, the fourth dimension which he is talking about is absence. Absence means that particular thing is not there from its roots. See, we need to understand this fourth dimension very deeply. That is, if you take a plant, let us say. Now, let's say you cut the plant from this at the stem level. Now it looks as if the plant is not there, but the roots are still remaining. As long as the roots are there, again the plant will grow. So you cut it again the plant will grow. That is not the state of absence which he is talking about. Hanihi, when we say hanihi means absence, what it means is the very capacity of the plant to sprout goes away. The very capacity of the plant to grow gets destroyed. When will that happen? When the roots are also removed, then the plant loses its capacity to grow. Similarly, when the roots of all the sorrows, when the roots of all the stress, which is nothing but, I told you, the various factors which you have stored in the deeper layers of your mind, the psychic impressions, the various impressions which you have stored within yourself, the seeds, when they are all completely released, then your mind loses its capacity to get stressed, just as the plant loses its capacity to grow. That is the fourth dimension, completely releasing all the factors which are disturbing you. And when you release everything, then the infinite peace and bliss, the higher energy floods you. Why I am using the word the higher Shakti, the infinite peace and bliss floods you, is because it literally floods you. Each and every cell of your body is filled with that happiness. And it's not only your physical body, your pranic body, your emotional body, your wisdom body, everything is filled with that infinite bliss. So the word hanihi is so powerful, and that is why he says sarva dukkhanam, all sorrows, and I put the translation as destruction of one's sorrows in totality. See, when you after this, when you just read the translation itself, that will start inspiring you. So that should be your goal. Till you reach that state, you should not leave this. So prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate. There arises complete destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Amazing when you think of these 4 dimensions of hanihi. So if you are claiming that you're doing your sadhana, now check. Check means not every day. I'm saying once in 6 months or something, just check. Am I going in the right track or not? Anyway, when you're connected with the master, he will keep noticing. See, a master does not need to look at a student physically. Just by scanning the energy, he'll be able to find out whether the student is going on the right track or not. So the messages are constantly being given every week. Whatever will be helpful to you all. So take those messages. See, each one of you, when you're listening to this, take it as a personal message to you. It's a personal conversation. Don't look at your neighbor, one who is watching with you. The message is for him or message is for her. Let that person realize that. But you take it personally. The more you personalize this wisdom, the more you will grow. See, what we do is, when it comes to problems in life, we personalize it. There we lose our objectivity. But when it comes to solutions, when it comes to the ancient wisdom, we don't personalize this. We practice objectivity here. We use this wisdom to criticize others only. Yes. Objectivity. My colleague does not have objectivity. Yogishri is talking about discipline. Yes, that person, he does not have discipline. So there you objectify it. But when it comes to any problem or anything, you immediately personalize it. So now reverse that process. What they are saying, they say hanihi means that only, the 3rd dimension, which I was saying, that abandonment of developing objectivity. When it comes to the world, when it comes to various challenges and all that, you need to be objective. But when it comes to the ancient wisdom, when it comes to the inner transformation, you should personalize everything. Don't read these verses as if this is a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, which happened 5,000 years back. No, you should, when you are reading these verses, when you are listening to the discourses, directly now take it in, as if this is meant for you. It is meant for you only. I'm sure all of you would have experienced this, that in the course of all these discourses, whatever questions which you have in mind, they will all, they would be, all of them would be, answered. Whether you ask the question verbally or whether you send the question or not, you will get your answers. Even last week a lady had sent a mail saying that I had an issue and so I wanted a solution. And when I switched on, when I tuned in to the Sunday discourses, exact solution to my problem was given that day. Now, this you would have experienced. So now use that experience to now get into the entire wisdom. See, don't stop with just that one aspect of wisdom which solved that immediate problem. Now personalize all the aspects of this wisdom and start visualizing yourself as if you're living these principles. See, when you personalize something, that will become your first nature. One is to study the Sthita Prajna, the person who has attained the perfect state, objectively. That is how Arjuna starts off. How will a person who has attained perfection, how will a Sthita Prajna walk? How will a Sthita Prajna talk? So he is now putting it outside him. But slowly, Krishna is trying to change his vision. He is putting it so powerfully so that he starts internalizing everything. So as sadhaks, you should also do that. When he says in peace, there arises destruction of one's sorrows in totality. Now you should imagine yourself in that state. That you know, I am very peaceful. All the sorrows have been released and the infinite peace has flooded my entire personality. The more you personalize it thus, your goal will become very, very strong. Soon you will become that. As you think, as you visualize, as you feel, so will you become. If you're constantly going to think of the negativities, if you're constantly going to think of the negative qualities of others, slowly you will absorb that energy. Whatever you visualize of yourself, that will become the truth. So these verses of are not only for motivation, but when you get inspired by these things, the very emotion of inspiration comes only if you personalize. So when you are inspired and when you personalize, slowly you will become that. Because this is an inner journey. This is not an external journey. Spirituality is about not becoming something which you are not today. It is about transforming yourself wherever you are. The destination is not outside you. The destination is within you. The path is also within you only. Okay? So we'll continue further with this verse next week. I'll give you more principles. But first you absorb this today. As I said, personalize it. Start imagining. See, when you close your eyes and imagine yourself, what is the image which you have of yourself? I am an impure person, I am a negative person, I am a short-tempered person. Nowadays, people personalize all diseases. I am a diabetic. I am this. I said, this diseases, why do you need to now personalize? That is the image which you are having of yourself. Now what I am asking you to do is personalize the positive things. He is giving you the highest. When you start visualizing yourself thus, and then when you keep doing your sadhana, all these things which you are hearing now, you will start experiencing. They will become reality in your life. They will no longer be hearsay. That is why in one of the earlier verses, he said to an enlightened person, the scriptures actually mean nothing. He says when the whole area is flooded with water, a small well, what is the use of that well? Which contains a little bit of water. When the entire area is flooded with water, that well becomes redundant. Similarly, for a yogi who has started experiencing and living these truths, thereafter, even these scriptures mean nothing for him, because that scriptures are also external only. When he's got the direct experience, he doesn't require any scripture. So you should also get to that state, that supreme state of enlightenment. It all starts with the small effort of personalizing and starting to visualize yourself as a positive person. That will give you enormous self-confidence, self-esteem. That is very important. Okay, so now we'll do meditation. In today's meditation, I will take you deep within and make you visualize these great truths. Now don't try to follow the words. Some people, they have written to me saying that many a times in meditation we just hear something you're saying, but we get into such a deep state, but unfortunately we don't follow your instructions. That is the whole idea of meditation. If you're going to be fully alert and if you're trying to follow each and every instruction which I'm giving, then you're not in a meditative state. The instructions are only just some kind of external help to make you go inward. So once you're experiencing that, which is what any master is striving for, thereafter don't be bothered about the instructions and all that. Okay. So sit straight. Gently close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Feel very, very relaxed. every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Let go of all your stress. Whatever be the cause for my stress, I let go of it. And I enjoy this present moment fully. I am not this body. I am not these various emotions and thoughts. I am one with that infinite being, the source of supreme bliss. From this moment onwards, I choose to be happy in each and every experience of my life. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers and toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, your cheeks, forehead, top of the head, the back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So we had a very deep session today. I took you deep within yourself. The energy of happiness is something which you should start experiencing in your life. In the future, we'll see the science of happiness itself. I will take it as an empowerment course that we'll see later. When the right time comes, we'll do that. But as of now, you reflect on all these points which have been given, and this a principle of personalizing the ancient wisdom is something which you should master, so that a time would come where a principle is given, immediately you should be able to absorb and live it. That is possible, provided you reach that state of absolute purity, Okay, so there are a couple of announcements. First is regarding the 22-day program which we had. Many people have sent emails that they came to know about the program only halfway during the program. One person, the last day of the program only, he came across this, and he started watching our Sunday discourses and all that. And so they've all been asking as to what do, we have missed it. So we'll see whether this particular course, because this is so important in the present context, the ancient secrets of health, so whether this particular course can be made available throughout this year, so that anytime you want to enroll for it and go through the whole course and take and receive the empowerment. We'll see that, because I need to meditate and see how to energize the videos. Energizing the videos so that it will give you the healing Shakti is one thing, but that is not mere healing. The course is empowerment, so you need to receive the empowerment. So we'll see. I'll work on it, and once the energizing is over, we will release it in the form of a course. And even for others, few people have asked whether they can, there is any possibility of redoing the course so that we can get further established in the principles and get empowered more. So that also, if you want to do, you can, because the future courses, this particular course, that is which we had, the 22-day course, is a foundational course where you need to practice that sadhana for a while. You need to receive that empowerment. Then only you will be able to handle the energy for the further higher level programs. When we deal with the Pran Sharira, the Pranavayu Sharira first, and which talks about which is about the aura expansion and all that. So we'll be seeing all that in the future. So once this is ready, the announcement will be made. The other announcement is regarding the program which we are going to have in April. So in April we are going to have the special Yoga Sankirtan Empowerment Program. It will be for 3 days, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. That is April 23rd, 24th and 25th. you can make a note of these dates and plan accordingly. It will be for 3 hours. Each day will be 3 hours, 2 sessions each day. A small break will be given in between. All the details you will get to know soon. So all of you keep doing your sadhana regularly on a daily basis, because the more you do your sadhana at a personal level, when you come for these empowerment programs, you will be better prepared to receive the energy and benefit maximum. Okay? So we'll meet next week. Thank you very much.